Hey everybody, Neil here from Post to Post. Two jerseys just got released in the NHL. It's for the Winter Classic that's happening down in Florida. It's the Florida Panthers versus the New York Rangers. As always on this channel, we discuss jerseys. We discuss all jersey releases, whether it's has anything to do with the jersey itself. Maybe it's a new logo on a jersey. It's not even NHL specific. If a new jersey enters the world of hockey, typically we talk about it. Our focus is on the NHL, but we do dive into some other leagues as well. Speaking of which, there is an AHL video coming soon on the channel, so if you follow the AHL, you might want to tune in for that one. But in terms of the Winter Classic this year, the Florida Panthers and the New York Rangers, my brief opinion before I get into the in-depth version is I'm a little bit disappointed. So let's talk through this and let's discuss and let's look at the photos. I think we have 27 to go through. Let's start off with Florida and let's dive in. So I'm going to bring this up on the screen now, and I'm going to take you through the specific order, or the exact order that I was exposed to these photos in real life on Twitter, and walk you through my thought process, basically. So this is the first photo that I saw, and it's a bit conflicting, right? I mean, you look at the jersey, and you see what is obviously Florida, but then you see snow. There's no snow in Florida. Maybe northern Florida on the rare occasion, but not down near Miami in sunshine. It just doesn't happen. So I understand the optics behind the negative optics behind having the Winter Classic in Florida. I also don't agree with that. I think the majority of people don't agree with that. So I will say also, I also do not agree with that based on the majority of people, not the majority of comments that I've been reading. So just the fact that the game is there is a little bit awkward. However, I understand the NHL's perspective in wanting to reward teams that bring success to the league. Florida has done very, very well, obviously, in the last probably 5 years. You know, they've really turned things around and they've done some pretty great stuff for the NHL and hockey, so why not reward them? That's really the mindset here. So I'm not too upset that they have a game. I'm just more upset that it's in Florida, not that Florida is in it. Does that make sense? Anyways, in terms of the jersey, first impressions for me was, okay, I like the classic nature of this. We're going back to the original jersey a little bit, the original logo a little bit, but I want to see more. Half of this jersey is covered up by snow and foliage. So I decided to go on at this point without any other thoughts in my brain, and this is the next photo that I saw. It was a bit of the uniform, so got to see more of the jersey, see the pants, some of the socks and the gloves. So as soon as I saw this, my opinion negatively changed. I do not like the pants at all. Now, this is coming from someone who does like the leathered and weathered and traditional, retro, original six style look. I like the brown leather gloves and the brown leather pants, but not necessarily for the Florida Panthers that came into the league in the 90s. I just don't see their branding and that vibe from Florida. So regardless if it's a Winter Classic or not, you can call it whatever you want. It doesn't mean that this team existed 100 years ago when uniforms kind of look like this. It just does not fit the brand in my opinion. So I do not like the colorization of the pants and having them the beige or the off-white or brown or whatever you want to call that. To me, it's too light. There is a better photo that I'll show you next, and you can see it here. It's to me, it's just too light. I think if it was darker, twice the shade darker, I think it would be much better. More so closer to actual brown approaching black than this light tan kind of color. But in this view, we do get to see the socks. I think they're a little bit polarizing. They're a little bit busy. However, at least there is some design consistency there between the socks and the arms. You can see on the side of the arms of the jersey, you have that kind of staged striping, that kind of the barber pole striping, but it's only half sleeve, so it's not bad, and it does kind of match in with the rest of the jersey. But it feels overly aggressive with the socks. I think it's a little bit too much down below. It starts to look like a little bit of a candy cane, especially with a lot of red in there. Now, we go through some graphics that the Florida Panthers have released. I'll read through this. So Leaping Cat Reimagined. A tribute to the fans. Our vintage take on the original Leaping Cat is executed with felt and chain stitching that evoke hockey's traditional craftsmanship. So in terms of material, the logo looks really good. In terms of execution, I don't think so. The logo is really losing it for me. It feels very fluffy and it's too light. Like it needs to be a darker shade. It's too, I don't know the right word, but you look at the face, you look at the stance, it's aggressive, it's intimidating, but then you look at the color and it's like, oh, that's cute. So I don't know. I don't really like this logo that much. I don't like the colorization of this logo and the execution of this logo. I like the general design of the original logo, obviously, and I like the materials being used here. So I'm not sure if that's conflicting or not, but regardless. Now, they have another graphic, and they're just showcasing the shoulder patch. Sunshine State of Mind. We've integrated our prowling panther into a vintage sun, a core motif of the Panthers brand. Okay, so I like the logo. I think that it is a little distracting though. Like I get the sundial thing, but I kind of want to see it like without the lines. Just give me, I think, just the red circular aspect. I find that it's broken up and it's a bit distracting, but it's okay. It's okay. I still do like it. Next, you can see the sleeve here and a little bit of text. A complementary approach to the bold striped designs long associated with traditional hockey sweaters. Traditional hockey sweaters, not traditional Florida sweaters. Next one, local military ties. Decorative stitching in the back numbers from chevrons inspired in part by Florida's military heritage. I think that's actually phenomenal. I really like that. I love the stitching that's in the numbers. I think this is one of those jerseys, if you're going to get, you almost have to get it stitched because those numbers are so good. Very unique, but it's still that kind of felt material, so very on brand for Winter Classic. The next one they have, Victor E. So, a rat motif adorns the hem label, honoring our fan-led tradition of throwing rats onto the ice after every home win. So, I really like when teams do little stuff like this. I think it's pretty important just to throw a couple of Easter eggs in there. And I'm glad that some teams aren't afraid to do that because there are definitely a lot of teams that are. Florida's not one of them, obviously. So that's pretty great. So objectively, there's things I don't like. Objectively, there's things I like. I never found any sense in completely hating something unless you truly hate it. Always try and look for some positives. And if there are negatives, make sure you mention them, basically. It's kind of my view on things. Here is the store image. So as a jersey itself, I would probably give it like a 5 or a 6. I think if it had a different logo, or more specifically, a different designed version of that logo, it would likely be a higher rating. I think that the jersey is better than the uniform. A lot of times it's the opposite. The uniform really kind of makes the jersey. Like a bad jersey, you can make up for with a good uniform. But it also kind of goes the opposite way a little bit. Hypothetically, if this jersey did have maybe a better designed logo on the front, maybe it had symmetrical shoulder patches. Maybe the shoulder patch was perfect and everybody loved it. Still, this is going on a uniform where the pants are very questionable. So, yeah, I'm not sure. So, yeah, as is, I would give it like a 5 or a 6. But I think with some small tweaks, this could probably be like an 8. Honestly, it's very, original Florida Panthers in the 90s. And I like that. I like the fact that they kind of went this direction. I don't mind the striping on the arms either. So I think they're close, but they made some poor decisions. And on the other shoulder, I'll just go to the back so you can see the back as well. But on the other shoulder, you can just kind of peek it there. It's the Winter Classic logo. We've kind of discussed that in the past when it was released. Here's a straight-on shot of it in different lighting with an actual person wearing it. I like to show as many photos as I can because it's important. If you're thinking of buying this, here's a really good example. This is how it probably look on you, how it falls on the shoulders, how it comes down the arm, the creases, the folds, everything. And here it is from the back as well. From this angle, the shoulder patch looks pretty big. It does look pretty big, so I kind of want to see it like in uniform on ice during the game, just to see how distracting that shoulder patch is. Here's a close-up of the logo, so you can kind of see some of that chain stitching, more so in the bottom of the eyes and in the nose, and the claws in the middle of the chest and the blue around. It's a well-executed logo from like the physicality of it, the physicality of producing it and stitching it. I think it's just the wrong colors. A little bit too much deep red, way too much light beige. Here's another close-up of the logo. I mean, the chain stitching really pops in certain light. You get that little bit of a shine off there. You can see it in the eyes and everything. Here's a close-up of the shoulder patch. And there's chain stitching in there as well. It looks good. Here's the Winter Classic logo there on the side. I forgot I had this photo. And actually, there's another one as well, just showing it to you in different lighting. It's a beautiful logo. Probably one of the best Winter Classic logos that maybe the NHL has ever produced. I really, really like it quite a bit. It's a bit deceiving, though, isn't it? Because when the logo came out, we saw purple and we saw light blue, and we're like, okay, they're doing it. Miami Vice, the jersey's happening, and they didn't do it. So, disappointing. Here is the neck. Very traditional, nothing really to say here. Very classic Winter Classic. It's exactly what it should be. And then 2026 Winter Classic in the back. And they just posted these photos today of the jersey in the team store. You can see the C on there, which sits on a little bit of a shield. I don't mind that. I think some people might have a problem with that. It is a bit distracting, but I'm okay with it. And then the back of the jersey you can see there, and a bunch of jerseys for sale. One thing I did want to mention is let's pick the hat. The hat that's for sale at the arena. I actually like that hat. And it is busy because of the striping, but I actually quite like that hat. I think that's fantastic. If I lived in Florida, I'd probably go to the team store and try and pick one up. So yeah, there you have it. That's my opinion on the Florida Panthers jersey. Now let's move on to the New York Rangers. I have less images of this because I have less to say. Here is the full uniform. This is so predictable and expected and logical and also disappointing, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that is this jersey and uniform is essentially the inverse of their 100th anniversary jersey. So, of course, why wouldn't I not do this in the same year for the Winter Classic? It just makes sense. It's also easy. It's also brand appropriate. It matches generally the same gear that they're wearing. In general, fans are already used to it. It's an easy win for the New York Rangers here. So it is what it is. I mean, I think they could have done way more. I think this approach is lazy, but I also think it makes total sense from a marketing and brand perspective. Here's another shot of it. You can just see, at a different angle. They do have the NYR there on the apple, which I think is pretty cool. It is an off-white too, which is, it's interesting. It's very Winter Classic for sure. And here's another shot of some snow. Hey, at least New York has snow. So there you have it. And then they released some phone backgrounds or whatever, screenshots backgrounds. And a couple different angles here. Go grab one if you want. It's on their social media. So I would give this jersey, if the 100th anniversary jersey didn't exist, I would probably give this jersey like an 8 or a 9. But because the inverse of this already exists, the anniversary jersey, I have to give this like a 6.5 or 7. And again, even though I understand the reason behind it and thinking it from a marketing kind of lens and perspective, of course, this is a very logical decision. A logical decision doesn't mean it's always the right decision. If you're an NHL superstar and you have a team that's throwing ridiculous money at you, the logical decision would be to take the money. It doesn't mean that's the right decision. Maybe the right decision is going to a different team and potentially having a better success at winning the Stanley Cup. A good example of the right decision not always equaling the logical decision. So I think this is a logical decision by the Rangers, but not the best decision. Hope that makes sense. So that's all the images that I have. And yeah, I mean, I don't really dislike heavily either of them. I don't think either were a dreadful miss. Obviously, the Florida one is worse in my opinion, and I think they could have done better, but there are definitely aspects of it that I like. I would be very curious to hear your opinions down below in the comment section. Listen, there's jersey collectors out there. I'm a jersey collector. You can see some of my background. Sometimes we buy jerseys we don't like just because they're unique, just because they're time appropriate. Maybe they're only made for a certain amount of time and they're going to sell out. And even ugly jerseys can be collectible items. So there's going to be people out there who want to collect this and want to buy this, even though they don't necessarily like it. If you're one of those people, I'd love to hear from you as well. They exist. I have bought jerseys before that I don't necessarily like, but I wanted to collect. And hey, maybe you love this jersey. Maybe you absolutely love it. Maybe you're a Rangers fan, you love that one too. Definitely no right. There's no wrong. Everyone has a different opinion. It's all subjective. So I'd love to hear yours down below in the comment section. Tomorrow we discuss jersey concepts on the channel, looking at your designs from the community. We had a designer submit something. So we're going to look at it tomorrow. So I hope you can join me for that. Hit the subscribe button down below if you're new. And we'll see you then tomorrow for that video. Have a great night. Adios.